In 2005, at an art auction in London, a chimpanzee named Congo outsold Warhol and Renoir, with 3 of his paintings being sold for a total of $250,000. Congo was a painting chimp who was studied by Desmond Morris, a zoologist and fellow painter. He first started his art career in 1956, when Morris presented him a pencil during a study on chimp creativity. And for the next 3 years, Congo created over 400 pieces of art in 3 different mediums: pencil and empty paper, pencil and patterned paper, and his favorite, painting on colored paper. At the beginning, Congo struggled with the different mediums until the 14th session, where he is said to have mastered painting, and by the 22nd, where there was total control of the paintings, with no observable mistakes. When Congo painted, he was not prompted or rewarded by caretakers, and always knew when a painting should be finished. And when encouraged to continue working on a finished painting, Congo would refuse, and when interrupted, he was known to throw a tantrum until he could finish. However, Congo showed no interest in a painting when it was finished. Most artworks had the same beam-like shape, with experimentation showing up in later works. His style was said to be called abstract lyrical impressionism. Congo's art was considered to be better than the average 2-year-old's, but he never started to try and represent the world around him, known as the imaging phase, which most children start to do at age 3. Morris argued that these paintings should be considered art, very similar to that created by humans due to these reasons. First, Congo felt satisfied by the creation of art. Congo was able to control the art's composition. Paintings contained calligraphic variation, or just different kinds of lines. Paintings contained thematic variation and optimal heterogeny, meaning that there were not too many or too few lines. But on the other hand, Dennis Dutton, author of The Art Instinct, argued that Congo's paintings could not be considered art. It's just simply a fun activity for the chimp with no purpose behind it. For most chimps, if the caretaker never removed the painting in time, it would be completely covered in paint and more of a dark stain than anything else. And because they never returned to view the work of art, shows that it should not be considered art. He stated that to call this art or proto-art underestimates and misunderstands what human art is. Another proponent of animal-made art is the bowerbird. To mate, the male bowerbird creates a bower, which is a small structure made of sticks surrounded by bright and shiny objects in order to attract a female bowerbird. Materials are meticulously searched for and arranged in a very specific way, often taking many hours to perfect. Based on the quality and look of the bower, the female decides whether to mate or not. Based on the time taken on building a bower and its evaluation of aesthetics by the female, many argued that this could be considered art or a more primitive version of it. But it's difficult to say because there's no real definition of art. According to A History of 6 Ideas, says that art produces beauty, represents reality, creates forms, expresses the creator, produces aesthetic experiences, and causes shock. Now, not all these are testable, but depending on how you look at it, Congo's art could fit into all these categories except for representing reality, as it doesn't represent the world or any experiences. Congo's art simply isn't complex enough, and chimps don't have the intellectual and perceptual abilities to truly create a work of art. And most importantly to some, doesn't follow any art traditions or institutions. Chimps don't make museums and collect and evaluate art. However, bowerbirds do have an audience and evaluation on behalf of the female. Bowerbirds seemingly are able to create and judge artistic ability and have a sense of what good art is, although the function of the bower in the mating process seems to dismiss it from being considered art. None of these, however, disprove the existence of artistic aspirations among animals, and the ability of an animal to express themselves creatively, and doesn't disprove emotions being incorporated into works of art. And the fact that Congo's art has been recognized by the art world and sold in auctions could then make it art. These questions are important to ask to fully understand the cognitive capabilities of certain animals and to find out how and when art developed among humans. There are many different sides to this argument. Many consider these to be works of art, while some consider it to be a primitive form of art, while others consider only humans capable of creating art. The more we study animals, the more we find out how similar they are to us. And until recently, tool use was only thought to be a human activity. So possibly the idea of art and creativity among animals isn't too far-fetched. So what do you think? Do you think animal art can be considered art? Or is it just paint being absent-mindedly spread on a piece of paper, or something in between?